that. You may know him from Star Trek, The Next Generation, Star Trek DS9, Star Trek Voyager. You may also know him as a wrecker from Transformers Prime known as Wheeljack. And at the beginning of next month, he is going to be the greatest villain possibly in the Metal Gear Solid series, Skullface. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mr. James Horan! That's yours.
Is this thing on?
Everybody hear us all right?
All right. Microphone technique. We know it.
Are we doing this standing up or sitting down?
Oh, no, you want to sit? Let's sit. Be comfortable. That's what I say.
So, how are you finding auto assembly so far?
I'm enjoying it. Great con, great people. Enjoy meeting everybody and finding out what's going on.
Great. So, I asked this to Smiley yesterday and it sort of threw her off. Hopefully you've had time to prepare. Who is James Horan?
Who is James Horan? You asked Somali who she was?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
She said she's done so many characters that she probably can't remember probably.
Oh, well there you are. Well, you know, I've played a lot of characters, certainly in my life, and you know, but I got married 10 years ago, and I have a 9-year-old son. He would just turn 9 on Friday. I missed it because I was traveling. But I tell you, the role of husband and papa is an amazing role, and I'm really relishing it because I put it off a long time. We won't say how long, but I was just a nomad for a long time. You know, going to New York, LA, you know, traveling around, doing plays in different cities. I did a lot of theater. And I just feel very grounded now. This has been a grounding experience. And I enjoy the voiceover world just because there's so much less ego involved. Nobody cares what you look like or really how old you are. It's just about what you sound like. So I'm enjoying this time of my life.
And so how did you get your start then? What was your first taste of acting like? And what was it that moved you forward into the profession?
Well, let's go in the Wayback Machine, Mr. Peabody. Who gets that reference? I started acting when I did my first play when I was 19. In college in Kentucky, where I'm from. I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. I went to a small college in Danville, Kentucky, not too far away. Founded in 1819, so had a little bit of history there. I was an English major, and but theater always, I don't know, I think I had an inkling in me that I wanted to do something. I was always interested in theater. So I went out for a play, and I was cast, the first thing I went out for was the Marquis de Sade, in Mara Sade. And that was my baptism by fire, I like to say. I've been playing bad guys ever since. Let me say questionable. But that was my first experience when I was 19, and the bug bit. And I went, I like this. And so I was just anxious to explore more characters. And that's what I find fascinating about the acting world, is just, and this profession is just, you get to experience different facets of humanity, because that's all we're doing is interpreting our humanness, because we're all different people. And it's just actors, the best actors are the best observers, I believe. The ones who really, when you're talking to them, talking to someone, you really try to find out who they are, you know, and you look at their eyes, which not a lot of people do these days, in life, anyway. But I just find that still to be, it's eternally fascinating to me. I've never lost that fascination for delving into the human psyche. And even in voice acting now, I've heard people say it's not real acting, but it's almost more like, because you're only using your voice, you have to convey all those emotions and nuances only through your voice. So I find it especially intriguing.
Right, okay, we're actually going to have some people running around with microphones as well in a few minutes, so if you've got any questions you want to ask, I certainly know somebody in the audience who's got a few. Just get ready. just while we're getting the microphones set up, let's briefly talk about just the early days for you for Ackerman. What was it about trying to transition into the business? How did you find it? Were you based in New York, or did you move to LA? And
my life in art. Yeah, after college, I had to decide. I did a couple of plays in college. I was sort of interested. You know, I didn't know quite what I wanted to do. I had an English degree. I had a teaching degree, and I thought, well, I could teach English, or I could try to be an actor. And I decided that I want to give acting a go. I don't like sitting. I wanted to give acting at least a go and see where it took me. So I ended up I got accepted into a 2-year MFA program, Master of Fine Arts program at the University of Iowa, in Iowa City, Iowa. And I went there and I did a 2-year, it was like acting training, you know, it was like movement and voice and singing and theater, the history of theater. And so it just continued to feed my interest and my fascination with it. So after I graduated from Iowa with the MFA under my belt, then the big decision for an actor in America is whether you're going to go to LA or New York. Well, I didn't know anybody in New York, and I knew one guy in LA, so I figured, hey, let's go to LA. I'll go hang with him. So LA was the first place I went. And I was there about a year. I started doing a little theater. Here, I'm just trying to get an agent like you do. And then lo and behold, I auditioned for a soap opera. You guys know what those are, right? Okay. They're daytime drama. They're affectionately known as soap operas because they sold soap in between the drama. But I got a soap. It took me to New York. I did a show called Another World. There used to be 13 soaps in the United States, and now there's 3. Because I think of reality TV has killed the daytime, and also CNN. But I ended up doing like 4 soaps over the years. They were very good to me. I don't know. I was inherently soapily dramatic, I suppose. But I learned a lot doing soap opera. I worked with some really good people, and that's another type of acting that gets a bad rap because they call it not real acting either. But in my view, it was even more heightened just because it was every day you had to learn like 20, 30 pages sometimes. Overnight, you had to come in with the script memorized, and then it's very fresh because you're trying to make it work, you know. So that was my first sort of making money in the career thing, and then I realized when I got let go of my last soap, I headed back to LA and just started doing more episodic primetime television. Ended up doing Star Trek. They were good to me over the years. I did four roles in the primetime series. I was recurring. The last thing I did was recurring on Enterprise as future guy. They told me there was going to be a big storyline there, but it just kind of died out. What are you going to do? That's the Hollywood. They dangled something in front of me. So I was sad to see the whole Star Trek world go away. I was happy that they brought back the movies, but they haven't called me for the movies yet. So, but God bless JJ, right? He's resurrecting Star Wars too. Good for him. But yeah, and then about 20 years ago, people told me for as long as I was in this business, they said you have a good voice. Oh, you have a nice voice. I said, okay, yeah, you should do voiceover. And I thought voiceover was something you did when you retired. So I thought, yeah, I'll wait on that. But then I didn't realize you could make some money at this. So about 20 years ago, I took a class and I enjoyed what I read and heard. And I got some good feedback. Ended up getting an agent, and I'm still with the same agent. Actually, Somali and I have the same agent in Los Angeles. So I see her in the agency quite a bit. But and that's why it was great to work with her on Transformers Prime. That's the first time we worked together. Video games have been very good to me. I've done over 80 video games. This was only my second animated series. I did one called Starship Troopers. It's called Roughnecks, actually, the Starship Trooper Chronicles. I thought it was a very well done series. I got to play a character named Doc, who was a medic. Sort of the Ratchet of the situation. But that didn't last long. It was only a couple of years, and then this one only 3 years, and that was nice. But I'd love to do another animated series. There's other producers right there. We got microphones set up?
Yes, I think we have. We've got some people. Oh, there's quite a few hands going up.
Now that you give them the story of how you got into acting, what got you into singing?
Say it again?
What got you into singing?
What got me into singing? Okay, well, I guess I started singing in church. In Sunday school, maybe. I don't know. I always enjoyed singing. And then I was in choir in high school. And then I guess in college, maybe I didn't do anything, but then grad school, part of the acting training was we took singing classes with like a guy who taught opera. And that was fascinating to me. And then I guess when I was doing soaps, there was a woman who was putting together a cabaret kind of thing like I did last night. And she was using soap opera stars. And she called it the Singing Soap Opera Stars. And we did like benefits at Hofstra University in New York, and there was a little club in New York, a little piano bar where we would all do different songs. And I don't know, I enjoyed it. And then I guess I can't remember my first musical. Oh yes, I did El Gallo in the Fantastics. That was my first musical in Los Angeles. And a couple of years ago, I got to play Don Quixote in The Man of La Mancha. And that was a fabulous experience, just to sing Impossible Dream to a 2,000-seat house. But that was the last musical I did. And I just enjoy singing, and anytime I have a captive audience, and you can't run away, hopefully, I offer to do it at conventions, and it just keeps me in practice.
Just behind you.
Hello.
Hello.
Got to stop.
That's called feedback.
I
Can't hear a word you say.
I've got a Star Trek question for you.
All right.
What was it like to beat the hell out of Worf?
Beat the hell out of who?
Lieutenant Worf.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
What was it like to beat the hell out of Commander Worf?
Commander Worf. Yeah, well, we had some stunt doubles, but he and I, in the close-ups, we were doing it, but so to speak. Yeah, that's part of my training, and his too, I'm sure. You do stage combat, where you learn to take a punch and give a punch and make it look real. You get used to doing it on stage, from the perspective of the audience and so it looks very real. So it's the same sort of technique in camera. But he was great. He was fun to work with. I like Michael Dorn. He's a good man.
I have two questions. Both are to do with Doctor Strange. The first question is, were you familiar with the character of Dr. Stephen Strange before you auditioned for the role? And my second question is, are you looking forward to the Doctor Strange movie that's coming out next year?
I wasn't familiar. He was asking about Doctor Strange. I did a video game, right? I did a video game. Yeah, I have to remind myself of what I did. I remember doing that character. I don't think I was familiar at all with anything that had preceded him. Kind of like Wheeljack. People asked me if I was familiar with the first incarnation of Wheeljack, and I wasn't. But Doctor Strange, I'd heard it. I never read the comics as a kid. It just wasn't one of those comics that I read. I had a stack of comic books as a kid. I had the original Spider-Man comic book, which I sold for like $20, stupidly. Exactly. When I moved to LA, I sold my stack of comic books, which included the original Spider-Man for like, I don't know, $75. I needed money to go to LA. What did I know?
It's only about $25,000
Exactly. Isn't it? Exactly. I met Stan Lee a couple of years ago at a convention, and I had him sign like a I had this commemorative plate of the cover of the first Spider-Man, and he was going, "Ooh, a plate!" I said, "Man, if I'd had that original comic book." Anyway, but no, I never read the comics, so I didn't know much about Doctor Strange. And I hear that I hear good buzz about the movie coming out. And actually, I just read I think they're doing an animated series of it. If I'm supposed to talk about that, I don't know. Anyway, I auditioned recently for that character again. Keep your fingers crossed.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry for being a bit weird here. I mean,
No worries.
you just seem to be getting cooler by the second.
How often do you hear that?
Okay, well, this is a Transformers Prime question. But, well, because Wheeljack had a lot of very major interactions with, of course, like Vulcan and Hika, but also characters like Ratchet, Ultra Magnus, and Dreadwing. Well, I was actually wondering what your interactions were like with Jeffrey Combs, Michael Ironside, and Tony Todd.
Okay. Well, you know, a couple of you have asked how we recorded this, and we were all in a big room together, which was great. I love that, you know, just to be able to watch Peter Cullen work and Frank Welker and, you know, all these guys that, you know, have amazing voice talents. To me, I would sit and just watch them with my mouth open because they were so good. And Kevin Michael Richardson, I've never worked with him before, but he was great. He's just a big, has he been here before? He's a great guy, yeah. He's just a big, huggable dude. And he's very, very affectionate. And I love getting to know him. Tony Todd, funny thing was, I did a play with him in Cincinnati, probably like around 2000, around then. So we knew each other from that. It was like an old West story where he was the sheriff of a town and I was kind of a Clint Eastwood type gunslinger, not unlike Wheeljack. I come into town after bouncing from rock to rock. But I'd known Tony from then, so it was nice to reunite with him on this. And who was the other guy you asked about?
I was also asking
Like
about
Ironside?
and Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah, Ironside I didn't know. So I just met him when I worked with him. Jeffrey, I had known from the Trek world a little bit because he had done Star Trek as well. And he's another theater actor like I am. He does an amazing Edgar Allan Poe. He does a one-man show of Edgar Allan Poe. I went to see it a couple times, blew me away. So I have a lot of respect for Jeffrey. We're still friends on Facebook. We communicate quite a bit. Yeah. So anyway, that's your question.
While we're on the topic of it, just broadly, what was it like working with the cast? Because you've got people like Frank Welker, who is just the titan of the industry, Peter Cullen, things like that. What was the rest of the cast like?
Oh, well, as I said, they were just all amazing. I was in awe of their talent because I think because this was literally my second animated series. The first one was the Starship Troopers. I can't remember if we were all in the room. I don't think we were. I think maybe they recorded a lot of it separately because this was just a unique experience for me. Anyway, it was a long sort of rectangular room, and we all had our microphones set up. And, you know, Peter Cullen is a little guy. He's very slight, little mustache. But man, that voice that comes out of him is just amazing. And Frank Welker looks like your grandfather. You know, he's like this, and he's a very funny guy, very big clown, you know, so to do the Megatron voice. And it's great to me to be around these guys, to see who they are in person and then hear what they sound like, what they can do with their voices.
Got a question over here?
What research or hello? What research did you do to come up with mimicking Scarf from Kingdom Hearts? Voice of Scarf from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, so what preparation did you go through when you took over the role of Scar for the Kingdom Hearts?
Oh, Scar for Kingdom Hearts, yes. Okay, well, whenever they need a famous Brit that they can't get for the money reasons, they hire me. Jeremy Irons, he wasn't going to do the game, so they get me to do that because I can do a good English accent. An elephant parade route is never a place for a young prince. Like that. Simba. It's interesting, I saw somebody on Facebook recently, maybe you've seen it, where Benedict Cumberbatch is doing Smaug. They show the motion capture when he's doing Smaug for a movie. I didn't realize he did the voice of Smaug, did you? Yeah, it was fascinating to me. And I had done Smaug in the game of it was either Lord of the Rings or Fellowship of the Ring, whichever one Smaug appears in. And I had done the voice that Cumberbatch did years earlier. So, I guess I'm the poor man's Brit. What are you going to do? I'll take that job, by the way. It's okay.
Just wondering, over all the years you've been acting, is there like any standout roles you've played?
As far as acting anywhere?
Yeah.
Anything I've done?
Thinking particularly like voiceover work, is there any characters you've played that really stand out to you?
Wow. Well, I tell you, this experience on Transformers Prime is probably the biggest standout, just because I got to do it for so long, 3 years. I was recurring pretty much in the first 2 years, and in the last season he was on more often. But it was just fun to have a consistency of character. Once you created a character and then you come back to it over and over again. A lot of times with the video games, you do it once and you're done. I'm doing this voice of Skullface in Metal Gear Solid, so they've hired me a couple times to come back and do that, that's been fun too. I just, like I said, the joy to me is in finding new voices, so it's fun to be presented with a challenge and then come up with something. But I'd like to have another series where I was really consistent, doing it every week for a few years. That would be great.
Since you've been at the convention, you've probably had probably a lot of fans come up and be really nervous and excited to meet you, sort of giggly and stuff like that. Have you ever, in your years of working both acting and voice acting, worked or met somebody who you've idolized or a big fan of, got really nervous meeting?
Who I met? Oh wow! Well, one of my first Star Trek conventions, because I've been doing those for many years now. They used to have every year in Indianapolis. They had this Trek convention around Thanksgiving. It was just a tradition they had, kind of like you guys have. And it was one of my first Star Trek conventions. And they had what they called the Fab Four from the classic series. It was George Takei, Walter Koenig, the gal that played Uhura, Nichelle Nichols, and Scotty, James Doohan. And I met them, and that was great, saying hello. But man, to meet Jimmy Doohan, by Scotty, I grew up. That was my series when I was a kid, And I was fascinated by him. He really blew me away. And I sat on the couch next to him in the lobby, and he just chatted away. He did live television in New York City when television was live. That was talk about knee-knocking time. You can't screw up because it's going out live, man. We don't have that experience anymore at all. On stage, as close as you get, because you can't stop the stage play. But he was just a great guy, and I always liked his character. So yeah, he's probably the biggest guy that blew me away.
You said that you've done 4 Star Treks now?
I think so.
Yeah. Was it the case that you would have to re-audition? Because Star Trek generally in the 90s and stuff used an awful lot of returning actors in different roles. So did they approach you, or would you have to go into audition each time?
It seems like each time I auditioned, but they knew me, So that was the cool thing. It was a casting director named Junie Lowry Johnson. She had a really good eye. I think she appreciated theatrical actors. Because if you look at Trek, almost always they use people with theater training, because you have to project beyond all that schmutz on your face, you know? Because I was in 3 or 4 hours of makeup, and I think somebody who's just like a television actor who's used to mumbling his lines and looking good, you're not gonna communicate past the first row, as we say in the theater. So I really appreciate the fact that Trek enjoyed theatrical actors and hired theatrical actors, and Patrick Stewart, hello. I mean, from him on down, I just think it's they've always tended to hire people who could pass muster in that regard. So I think they appreciated my having a presence and a voice and a bearing that you can create an alien and make it believable. You know.
So how was the audition process for Transformers Prime then? How did that role come about?
Boy, honestly, I can't remember. I probably just got we get so many auditions. Like almost every day, you get an audition in your email, and they, I have a little home studio like most of us do. You either turn it out in your home studio, or you go into your agency and record it. Every once in a while, you go to a studio where they want to hear you in person at the studio, but by and large, it's just like a third-party recording studio who's sending it to the people who make the decisions. So that's why it really doesn't matter where you do it; they just want to hear you. So I imagine that I auditioned for it probably in the agent's office, and it's nice to get direction sometimes, because the booth director will give you direction. If you do one take and they'll say, try it this way, try it another way. So you may lay down 3 different ways. And then when I got the role, I think we had to find out where the character was going to be, because I assume he is different than the first incarnation, right? That's what I gathered.
Complete 180.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I don't know exactly how we ended up with that rather raspy quality. Maybe they wanted kind of an Eastwood-esque feel to him.
Have we got anybody else who's got any questions in regards to Tony? I know you've got one that you're dying to ask. Yeah. Because I've been telling him not to.
There's one down here too when you get away.
Right, on Enterprise,
Right.
he was a future guy.
Yeah.
Did they tell you who that was at any stage?
Man, I went to I did like the first episode, and they had like a party, and I sought out the producers, and I said, who is this guy? What's he about? And they go, oh, we got plans for you. We got plans for you. And we can't say anything right now. But I was like, okay. And then they had to come back like 3 or 4 times. I guess I did 4. But it was just always fascinating to me, because there was this other guy from the future who could take a body, right? And this character that I was playing, he just had to kind of be beamed back, and he was this shadowy humanoid figure. That's why they called him Future Guy, right? I thought, what's the difference in the technology here? So it never made sense to me. And honestly, I didn't watch it past when I was off of it, because I don't know about you. I know a lot of Trek fans didn't really appreciate it as a Trek series. They saw it as a sci-fi series. I think because Roddenberry said something about he didn't think there was anything beyond, he didn't want anything to be beyond classic or go back further than classic. So I think a lot of diehard Trek fans never really appreciated it. And I don't know, to me, like I was saying before about the theatrical quality of almost all the shows, that one was lacking to me. They were a little more laid back with everything, and it didn't have the urgency that almost all the other series had. So I felt like that's maybe why it didn't last as long. It only went 4 seasons instead of 7 like all the other series. Anyway, so the short answer is I don't know.
And how many times have you been asked that question at a Star Trek convention?
Yeah.
Is there somebody down there?
You, right? Did you have a question? Right there.
I have a sort of a side question. Since our Drift and Wheeljack are samurais, who will win the battle?
Who are samurais? Wheeljack and
Drift and Wheeljack.
Drift and Wheeljack.
Yeah, they
Okay.
kind of samurai circle in a battle.
Now you gotta tell me who Drift is. Who is he?
Oh my god. He's recording his guy. He's also
He's over there?
yeah, so there.
Let's have a fight right now.
Yeah, we can settle this
Give
right
me a
now.
samurai sword. Oh God, he's got one. I got mine at home. All right. You know, who knows? I have no idea. I honestly, I didn't know about the other guy. Hey, what other guy? As Wheeljack would say, right? He's coming to kick my ass. All right, calm down. Can we talk about this? Can we? Oh, he's gonna give me one. Hey, yeah. We'll solve it right now. Okay. Well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, Drift.
Good job, good job. Anyway, I have no idea. We'd have to see. You write that episode.
So, obviously, with your versatility across different genres from theatre to animation and voiceover work, for the future, is there one role, like a dream role that you've always wanted to play that you aspire to for the future? Is there one role that you think, this would be my dream role?
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I have a couple of theater roles I'd like to do. I don't know if you know, you ever see a movie called Breaker Morant? It was an Australian film. I've forgotten Edward Woodward. He played the character of Morant. It was based on the Boer War in South Africa. And it was based on a true story. It was a book called Scapegoats of the Empire. And it's just a beautiful, I always love that movie. And it is a play. And I've had it for years. A buddy of mine gave it to me. He tried to produce it in LA years ago. That's a role I'd like to do. I just have some ideas about it. You know, not a movie, but just a play. So, yeah, like I said, being able to play Don Quixote and Man of La Mancha was a great high point. I'd like to do some more musicals. That would be fun. Nothing I can think of off the hand, but thank you.
Do you sometimes find when you're going for a role that's, especially a stage role, which has been done time and time and time again, you struggle as an actor to find your own interpretation of that character, as opposed to doing an impression of...
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I'm really impressed that like Benedict Cumberbatch is doing Hamlet right now, right? In London, I think he's still doing it right now. And it seems like every new British actor has to do Hamlet after Laurence Olivier set the standard way back when. I remember I saw Ray Fiennes do it in New York, and I'm sure he did it in London first. But, you know, they have to find their version of Hamlet. But that must be tough, because how many ways can you do Hamlet? How many ways can you do to be or not to be? So, but, you know, if you're doing something like Richard III, I think there's a lot more leeway to find that. I did Richard III years ago with René Auberjonois, who's Odo in Deep Space Nine. You know his name? René Auberjonois. He played Richard. I understudied him. I didn't get to go on. But I played Richard, who comes in at the end and has a big sword fight with him and kills him, and becomes the next King of England. Thank you very much. Queen Elizabeth's grandfather. Yeah. That was fun. We did it at the Mark Taper Forum in LA. I'd like to do some Shakespeare. That's still Shakespeare I'd like to do. I've only done 2 Shakespeares in my life. But that's always a great challenge for an actor. And you know, I've done Shakespeare monologues all my life, but I just like the opportunity to do more Shakespeare.
Do you find it difficult to balance, as an actor, things that you want to do with things that you have to do to pay the bills?
Oh, sure.
And, you know, what do you do to sort of keep that passion alive, and it doesn't force you to necessarily become a drudge of one thing after another?
Well, like I said, the voiceover, it keeps you so busy. I don't even go out theatrically anymore. It just kind of trailed off for me. I lost an agent, and that was very good, and for me. And then time went by, and I was not very quick at getting another agent, because the voiceover just started taking over as a sort of way to make money and keep me busy. And then I started doing on-camera commercials too. I do a lot of on-camera commercials in Los Angeles. And that's my opportunity to be funny. They let me do comedy, which I never got to do before because I was always playing bad guys. And now that I have a 9-year-old, a kid came along and I just want to be funny. You know, you papas know how that is, right? So, yeah, it's just, I just enjoy, doing whatever comes along now. But again, the voiceover keeps me so busy. I don't think about the other.
Do we have any more? Yeah, we've got a gentleman down here. Sorry, Petrino, every time you go down, somebody's
You getting a workout today?
I have a request. Can you do Wheeljack as if it was played by Elvis?
Wheeljack, doing what?
Played by Elvis.
Played by Elvis.
That's an interesting direction, isn't it?
Well, I've been bouncing around from rock to rock. Thought maybe I'd try this place out for a while. Hey, rock and roll, y'all. All right? Thank you very much. Wheeljack Elvis. Ooh, I think there's a whole new character there. I like it.
Probably be the next character in More Than Meets the Eye, probably. You're doing Skullface in September 1st, the game comes out.
Yeah, the new game comes out.
I have to hijack this panel now for about 2 minutes while I talk about it.
All right.
What was it like working on them? Because traditionally those games have been incredibly dense in terms of their scripts. Do you recall much about?
In video games, you're very isolated. They bring you in one at a time. They're very secretive about everything you're saying. They give you a script, the day you get there, you don't get it beforehand. Basically, you do like several takes of every line. And so, honestly, I can't tell you who that character is. I mean, I'm not just being coy because of an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. Which, a lot of times they don't like you talking about this stuff, but people ask me and I go, I honestly don't know. I'm not a gamer, I don't play games. I just create these characters, and they, it pays the bills, thank God. But I don't know anything about the guy. I've seen, some of the, I know what he looks like, and I've seen some of the video people post on Facebook and stuff, and he looks like a real bad guy. They put it
He's done some nasty things, yeah.
But he got what, acid spilled on him as a child or something?
That's news to us.
Oh, it is. It was my NDA. No, he had some kind of trauma, facial trauma as a child, or something that, of course, it made him the way he was, as many bad guys do. I mean, the Joker, what happened to his case?
That was just one bad day, really, wasn't it?
One bad day.
We've got a question just over there.
This is for mainly Prime. When you come into Wheeljack, we know that you didn't know anything about Wheeljack beforehand from like Generation 1 or any other incarnation. When you got the role of Wheeljack, did you look back then of Wheeljack of what the character was like then to do it, or did you just create a brand new Wheeljack for us all to love?
God bless you. I had no idea there was another Wheeljack. That's how myopic I was. I got a role, oh good. I'm gonna make this guy my own. No, a lot of times it's good to know history, but sometimes not. Especially if it was like an indelible stamp that somebody put on that character. And I don't know if that other Wheeljack was dearly loved by all the Transformers fandom. He was? There you go. Well, I'm sorry if I did any. God bless you. Yeah, well, I think there's room for other interpretations. So, yeah, but to answer your question, I didn't know anything about the other guy. So we just found this guy.
The original one was voiced by Chris Latta. Chris Latta?
I don't know him.
No? Oh, well.
Is he still around?
No. That's why Wheeljack. But he was a crazy scientist.
Yeah, I heard the story.
Quite a departure from a.
But he blew things up every once in a while.
In that sense, I guess you both have that in common. I guess. Yeah.
Now, what years did that original series run?
1984. 1984.
1984 to how long?
He was in season 2, so it would have been 84 to 86 because I think he died.
Oh, okay. So they just did two seasons there.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah. I wasn't watching animation then. I was doing soap operas.
Right, we've just about run out of time, so does anybody have one final question before we go ahead? Oh, we've got 2. Right, okay. No, we've got 3. Right. Let's see how quickly
we can stay.
No. Okay, this gentleman down here.
Probably don't know this, but currently just finished in the US anyway. The current Transformers series is a sequel to Transformers Prime. And I believe somewhere they spoke about some of the Prime characters showed up in the 2nd season, so just wondering if they offered it to you, would you return as Wheeljack?
What was the first thing you said? There's another. What's happening?
The current Transformers series is a sequel to Transformers Prime that's using a lot of the cast from Prime. They spoke about characters from Prime showing up in the 2nd season.
You're not talking about robots in disguise, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay. Yeah.
So I was just wondering, if in the 2nd season they wanted Wheeljack to be in it, would you be happy to voice him again?
Oh, in a heartbeat, man. That would be great. That would be fun. I know one of the writers, his name is Stephen Melching. He wrote a lot of the Transformers Prime stuff, man. Great writer. And I write him every once in a while just to say hello, and he says he's always trying to get Prime people back into the show, so. Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed on that one. I'd love to do it. Yeah. Bring Jackie back. Bring Jackie back.
Bring Jackie back.
Let's start that letter writing campaign, shall we?
Yeah.
Right, okay, we've got one more question just over here.
Do you have a favorite recording booth moment from Transformers Prime?
Do I have any favorite?
Do you have a favorite recording booth moment for Transformers Prime?
Recording booth moments. Oh well. Let me think now. Man, nothing that comes to mind, except, like I said, just being flabbergasted by the quality of talent in the room. Sorry. I can't talk about it. NDA, no. I don't know. There was mad, passionate lovemaking going on in that booth.
And on that bombshell, ladies. One more question, if anybody's got anything. Oh, right. Come on then. Make it a good one then. Let's round this one out here. Sorry, Katrina.
How do Transformers fans compare to Star Trek fans?
Say again?
How do Transformers fans, us, compare to Star Trek fans?
Oh, well, I mean, I think you're both equally invested. And you guys are such fans and so passionate about it. And I find that is true about Trek as well. You know, but there's a lot more of Trek, I think, for people, because people have their favorite series. I mean, I notice people even coming up to my table and they go, oh, you know, I love this, I love that. But I think you guys, you appreciate everything Transformers, right? It seems to me. But yeah, I think you guys are a great fandom. And thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, on behalf of everybody, thank you very much for making the trip over here. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, a big hand for Mr. James Horan.
Bye-bye. I'll see you a little later.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like button and leave us a comment below. Also, spare a moment to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, and all your social media pages. To get updates on all of our latest videos delivered straight to your inbox, subscribe now using the link on the screen.